Hello, Brett Wild here, and today I'm starting from, I think, what will be an interesting point of origin. It is an airport in the Canadian Rockies close to the Pacific Ocean called Bella Coola. And if we just look around here, you can see that it's tucked in between some beautiful mountains. And I did not purchase this airport. I just came with it. At least I don't think I did. So here's the map, the VFR map of what would be Canada and where we are starting. Let me zoom in. So we are in this little valley here. So we'll take off and build some altitude, and once we get up to maybe 10,000 feet, we'll turn towards this VOR, and from that VOR we can pick up a few airways, and I'll show you those now. So we'll pick up Point Hardy. I was thinking of flying all the way out to, let's see, we're here. Let me just make sure I've got this. Yeah. I was thinking of flying out to Price here, but that's 60 miles in the wrong direction. So I think we'll just drop down here to the south and pick up an airway here, which is a jet route 523, and then down into the Seattle area, and we are going to land. So here's Seattle International, but we're going to fly down here to Olympia, just because I've flown into KSEA so many times, which is over here. So I thought this would be a little bit more interesting, and it does have an instrument approach. So that will be our route. So before we do any more planning, I just thought I would point out we're going to be flying the Aerobask Eclipse 550. It's just my second or third time out in this aircraft, but I thought I would venture another video, even though you might be white-knuckling it in the back as I continue to figure out some of these systems. So that will be our airplane. So let's go back and plan our flight. So back up to Bella Coola, and we'll be, let me back up here. Yeah. We'll fly down to Port Hardy VOR, which is 106 miles, so it'll be about a half hour of flying before we even get to a VOR. And let's pull up our jet routes here. So we can keep this real simple and just fly right on down to this fix here, Inham, and to this VOR, Tatoosh, Tango Oscar Uniform, and down towards our destination here, which is KOLM. All right, let's get this thing fired up. I've got the default checklist that comes with the airplane on my second screen. I did fuel it up, and yeah, chocks And maybe we'll fire up our GPU just because it's there. So we've got some lights on, and let's just turn on our nav light. And our beacon, there's a middle position on that switch. And then we'll go ahead and turn on our batteries and bus tie. And everything comes up nicely. So we can go ahead and plug in our route now. Alright, I've zoomed in to my menu here, and we'll just head right over to the flight plan and put in our point of origin, which is our Bella Coola, Charlie Yankee Bravo Delta, and enter that. And then we're going to add our VOR, which is Yankee Zulu Tango, or our Port, what did I call that? Port Hardy, yes. So Yankee Zulu Tango. And we will catch our first airway there, which is going to be J523. So we're getting off here, we're getting on here, and we're going to get off at TOU. There is another airway after that, but I think it's going to be too close to our final destination. And because we're probably going to be set up for an approach further out. So, Kilo Oscar Lima Mike. And there is a chance to load our arrival here. It doesn't have a star. No transition. And select approach. Not sure what this means. So let's take a look at our map. Sometimes that is a final approach fix. But since the VOR is right on the field, I think this would be further out. But here it is, HOOME, and that's what we're going to use then for our initial approach fix. There we go. And it fills in the fixes along the localizer and guide slope for the ILS approach. So our route is in, and we can go over and review it here. On this particular PDF, this is the Copilot side, you can click on Plan and Flight Plan here, and then just step through these, and you can see your route and our final approach then, with all the waypoints along the way. So that looks just fine. So once we get off the ground, we'll pick this up somewhere along the route after we get a little more altitude. So let's start our engines. So oxygen control, pull on. Looks like it's always on. I've never seen much of a difference when I click that button. And we do have pressure there. And our generator switches are off right now until we get things cranked up. External lights on just to let people know we're here. So now we can go ahead and start the engine. So we just select it to on start, be a little loud here. And our left engine, you can see it's coming up here. And we can get rid of our GPU now and turn on our generators. And that pretty much takes care of the engines. Everything seems nominal, as they say in NASA when everything is going well. So we're going to be taking off then to the southwest. Trying to get a bird's eye view here. Cool scenery. So we'll be taking off on this end. So parking brake off. This bird takes a little bit of power to get rolling. I'm going to put in a notch of flaps. Passenger view. This is a pretty nice airport for being out in the boonies. And we'll park it here for just a second. So we can go ahead now and set our heading. That's 230. And just use the heading until we get that altitude and can turn south over the mountains. Alright, enough of that. Let's get our landing lights on. Recognition. Strobe. Ready to go. Release the brakes. Yeah, I'm not going to use the auto throttle. Now that I think of it, it very slowly revs up the engines. I'll just do it manually. And you can't go full throttle. I can't use my toga switch because it'll put it into the red here. Rotate. Gear up. So we'll just do a little bit of pilotage here. straight out over the nose. Flaps up. And we'll turn a little bit here to the west as we climb. About 252. And I've clicked altitude change and the heading. We'll just watch our speed here. Now the mountains around us, in case you're wondering, they're in the 8 to 10,000 foot range. So like I said, we'll get a little altitude before we turn south. Clouds are courtesy of SkyMax 4. So you can see we're quite a bit further from our route than I would like to be, but again, we need that altitude. But I would say it looks pretty good. We could probably begin our turn. And I'll just use our heading for right now. In fact, we want to probably head a little bit, let's see, keep clicking the wrong thing. We probably want to actually head a little bit further southwest to pick that up. So you can see this is how we are set. So we'll pick it up eventually. As I get closer, I'll engage our navigation, which is connected to the sky view, which is really GPS. Got all that? Really beautiful scenery. I'm going to ultimately climb to flight level 210. And this is our barrel. We're just going to press this to go standard. See the shift there? And the nose is coming down. So I'm going to put in 210 and click the altitude change. So we came from way back here. By the way, this is the high definition mesh, which is an add-on. So we're at flight level 210. And we're coming up on our airway. And we're beginning a slow turn. To pick that up. One thing I like about the Aerobask airplanes is that they come with this sky view. And it's really nice and crisp and just performs as advertised. So I love it. So we can kill our landing light and our taxi light. So as you can see, we're turning right onto that jetway. I don't know what this warning is. I don't know what happened to my fuel, but let's fill that up. I'll show you how easy it is, and in a way it's kind of cheating. Click on customize. Yeah, that was not good. That should do it. Honestly, I thought I'd filled it up. And we can come back a little bit on our power. This airplane is not super fast, but it beats a Cessna 172. Alright, not much to do right at the moment, so back in a minute. It's beautiful, but not much to point out. So we are approaching our jetway that we pick up here at the VOR. Just a minute and a half plus. A little bit about this map. You can get some different options. If you want north straight up, you can do that. You can see traffic here by hitting TCAS. You can see weather. We don't have any. And this just turns things on and off around the screen here. And this will show you the items that you can turn on and off. I don't need all those fixes. So a lot of information here, which is lovely. And there's our turn. Here's X airports. And now we should have some new information. So we can see what our next checkpoint is over here, which is Inham. So this magenta line shows that this is our route right now. And if I were to back up a little bit, about as far out as I can go, but this magenta part of the line, if you can see a little bit further, and maybe in a minute I'll show you that, it would just be blue. So this shows the active route that we're on right now. So we've got 25 minutes before we get to Inham. So stand by for that. And my frame rates are in the low to mid 20s, which is terrific. Now, I don't have my clouds extending out all the way. Let me just see what happens if I do that. So head out to, yeah, this is pretty low right now, and I'm sure we'll see the frame rates drop when this comes out. I don't really care about the rotation speed. So we were in the low to mid 20s. So as it makes these changes, you can see now that our clouds go out much further, and it's dropped down into the mid-teens. So I would rather give up a little reality here. Maybe see what this does. Halfway in between, maybe. So we're back in the 20s. So we are coming up on Inham, and this just continues our jetway down to this VOR Tango Oscar uniform. So just 52 seconds. Looking here at X airports. Not much yet in the way of, let's see if there's any roads here. Nope, we're still pretty much in the boonies. Still just water and islands. Passenger view. Out the starboard side, port side, more mountains. So here's our VOR TOU, and here is home, which is our initial approach fix. So we've got, I think, plenty of time. Let's just take a look at our approach chart. So we need to be at 2,900 feet. Let's see if home has any. No, it looks like 2,900 feet. And we've got some mountains here, but they're quite a ways away. So I think we'll clear them without any issue. Now we can go over and check the descent calculator at X-Plane Tools. So we want to figure out miles from target. Our cruise altitude right now is 21,000 down to 2,900. Let's just say our speed is going to be close to 300 probably with the nose down, and then we'll drop down to maybe 200, and we'll probably be descending about 2,000 feet a minute. So we just need 39 miles to make that descent. And you can see the white line here. I'm sorry, I thought it was blue. The white line is going to be our next leg, and apparently this is home out here. And as we get closer, I can zoom in and turn on the waypoints. So as we approach Mount Olympus here, or right in here, we are 62 miles out. So we need to start planning our descent. So we want 2,900 feet. And we will use the up-down dial for our vertical speed. I do want to check our approach chart. Our frequency for the localizer is 111.9. So I'll want that dialed in. Just going to leave this up for now. Snow on the mountains. "48 miles. I said 40, right? But we can begin anytime and just make our adjustment. So I'm gonna, you can see the negative number here. Let's make it 18, see how we do. Seattle is off in the distance here. One thing nice about SkyMax is that it does cut down the amount of haze. If I were to turn this off right now, you would see a lot of haze. So which just comes now with XP11. Alright, it's gotten a little bit darker in the cockpit. Just to show you where we are, we're descending through 9,000. And you can see the little arc here where we will reach our target altitude. And we can slow down a little bit. We are really coming down fast. And there comes our nose, and I'm going to click approach. And we want to make sure this is set to 111.9. I think that's what I said. Yeah. And hopefully we'll pick up our ILS. Let me switch this over to our localizer. And this is runway 17. And I can adjust my course knob here to align with that. If I can just click this. Oh, that's nice. Not sure how accurate. Let's see, what is it? It's 172 actually. Yeah, very hazy. I think this must be Seattle out here. KSEA. Still don't have a guide slope, just holding at 29. So here comes our guide slope, and hopefully we can get back on our localizer. Notch of flaps. And there's our guide slope. The nose just came down. Another notch of flaps. Come back on our throttle. Gear down. That'll slow us down. Flaps on land. And we got back in shape with our localizer. Not sure why that flipped off, but it pays to scan those instruments and buttons occasionally. Looks like traffic lined up out here, but not sure what that is. So we are dead nuts, as they say. Beautiful dusk approach. I'll be curious to see what kind of scenery they have. As you may know, X-Plane comes with quite a bit. I see some hangars over here. Looks like there are some facilities here. Right, I'll kill the autopilot. Come back on the throttle. No reverse, just brakes. It's a pretty light aircraft, so shouldn't be a problem. And we'll make our turn off here. Start putting the gear or the flaps up as we taxi, but we'll stop here and wait for ATC. So I've been doing a little taxiing while you were not looking. Only because I'm not sure where I'm going. But this looks like a pretty legit place to park. Tower nicely lit up. Again, this is just default scenery. I don't know why we have baggage cars, maybe, and we'll just stop here. Power down. And we don't need all this light, do we? And we can let our passengers out. There we go. Set up our GPU. All right, well, thanks for joining me. And if you've got some comments or questions, fire away.